I was stuck. I was frustrated. I was a victim of my own mind, at the mercy of it rather than the master. But I flipped the script utilizing the law of mentalism, the first law in Hermeticism. The first law in Hermeticism states that all is mind, the universe is mental. And how did this allow me to shift my reality to one of abundance, to prosperity, and reshape who I am and how I saw the world? This is because our personality creates our personal reality. Who we are lives in our mind. Who we are is our lens over reality, because reality is objective, but we only experience the subjective version of reality, our subjective version of reality. We do not see the world as the world is, we see the world as we are. And we have been told and conditioned who to be for all of our lives. From a young age, we didn't have the choice of who we are. But now, in this moment, you can choose to be the master of your reality. You can choose to take conscious steps going forward to shape your reality and write your dreams into existence. So we understand that all of these external influences have shaped who we are. The music that we listen to, the books we read, the conversations that we have, the people that we surround ourselves with, the places we grew up, the food that we eat, everything that we've consumed and surrounded ourselves with have created us. And when we start to understand how it shapes our reality, it is quite literally shaping our mind. These things that we consume affect how we create. So these carrots that we eat, right? If we're eating healthy food, it's going to shape our mind in a certain way. The music that we listen to may let us live a bit more in tune. The books that we read may influence the way that we go and show up into the world. The places that we lived and the place that we grew up in may influence our politics and our outlook on the world. The people that we surround ourselves with may influence how we socialize and how we express ourselves and feel comfortable in our own skin. These influences, this socialization process, creates us. We have been created. And now, as conscious creators, we can take the power back and transmute these influences into our new personality. Because before now, you were at the mercy of your socialization. You have the same unconscious habits that you've had since you were a child. Me, myself, I still bite my nails. And it all started when I was sucking my thumb when I was a little kid. And that process, that oral fixation, has manifested in tons of different ways. It's manifested in me loving sunflower seeds and me loving candy and different sweets and such. And then it manifested in me biting my nails. And then it manifested in me smoking marijuana and vapes. So this oral fixation has stuck with me because I was unconscious of the fact that I had embodied this trait rather than transmuting and becoming the master of it. So this scale right here, I have another video which I can link in the description discussing the scale of affirmations, how we can speak our dreams into existence based on these affirmations, starting at I am. Our I amness is the reality that the world has told us, that our parents, our teachers, the books we've read, that they've told us this is how the world is and this is how we are. So our I amness is our groundedness in reality. Our I amness is how we see the world. It's the lens by which we see the world, and the lens by which we see the world is our personality. So if you are a super loving person and you go to the park, you're going to see the couple holding hands skipping. But if you are a super contempt person, you might go to the park and see the dead squirrel under the tree and see death. So it's where you're looking. It's how we see reality. So as we start to lean into our I amness and understand the labels, the judgments, and the attachments that we put on the world, we can start to write our reality into existence. So these labels, these judgments, and these attachments keep us in a box. The labels, the judgments, and attachments keep us stuck in 3D, keep us stuck in physical reality. We are unable to break out and create anything new when we are stuck in the world of judgments, of labels. Because by labeling anything, you inherently put a limitation upon it. By calling God, God, you are limiting God. By saying, oh, I pray to the universe, you're putting a limit on God. You're putting a limit on yourself when you say, oh, I'm a musician. Oh, so you're not a surfer? Oh, so you're not a philosopher? No, these labels are inherently limitations. And when we understand how to alchemize these labels and utilize these labels to embody these labels from I amness, from this feeling of being to knowing and embodying, we can alchemize these labels consciously, right? Because until now, you've unconsciously taken all these labels. So you might say, oh, I just have bad luck, or oh, I'm just not creative. Or you might say, oh, well, that just always happens to me. I have to work harder than everybody else. These are some limitations that I had on myself until I put my thought and I put my attention, my awareness in the words that I was speaking. So, starting with I am, what are these things that you know yourself to be? What are these traits and labels that you've assigned to yourself that you have? For me, my I amness has always been that I am creative. I've always known that of myself, and that was something inherently that I embodied as a child. I made comic books. I wanted to play the recorder, and I made little videos, and I did all of that stuff, but it fell off at some point. At some point, when I was doing drawings and somebody said, oh, you still draw? Like, you're 14 and you're a boy, that's gay. Maybe that is a little gay, and I stopped, right? And in the world, I let somebody else outside of me tell me how to act. So this thing that I was, my inherent nature as a child, fell off because of somebody else outside of me and how I allowed the world to sway me, right? But I decided, you know what? I am creative, and that's my nature. So I decided I am creative. And this was only a couple years ago. This was around 2020. In 2020, I said, I am creative. And I began to feel creative, right? And as soon as you say, I am creative, you can speak it. Maybe you don't fully believe it yet, but you can speak it. I am creative. And you are quite literally manipulating this mental universe because you create the world in the confines of your mind. So I say, I am creative, and now I start to feel creative. I start to go out in the world and I start to say, look how the trees are blowing in the wind. Look how beautiful it is. I started to appreciate life more. I started to sit and I started to listen to music and I said, wow, that was really an interesting composition. I started to think more deeply about the world and start to think more deeply about the things that other people created. I started to feel the urge to create myself. I would sit down in my notebook and just doodle. And that is where it switches from, rather than just feeling, having that urge to create, to doing, right? Now I'm saying, oh, wow, I picked up the guitar. In 2019, I started playing guitar, and now I'm doing, right? 2020, I've always been creative, so those are rough years. But 2019, 2020, I'm picking up the guitar and doing and actually creating, putting it into practice. And the next step to embodying that as your reality is, I love it. I love playing guitar. And it's still something that maybe in 2020 that I wasn't fully comfortable sitting in front of other people and doing because I was embarrassed in my own ability. I thought, oh, people might make fun of me. I wasn't too assured of myself, of my own abilities, but I love to do it. So I love to do it. I feel creative when I do it, and I am creative when I do it, right? So I started with putting a label on myself, and then I worked my way up from feeling that label to doing and embodying that label, to loving that label and loving when I'm holding that label onto myself. Now, this is breaking out of this three-dimensional reality. Because when you are stuck in the doing and the feeling and I am, those are in the lower chakras. That is in the root, that is in the sacral, and that's in the solar plexus. And those are your third-dimensional physical attachments in reality. So most people are stuck here because they don't have anything they love to do. So you have to find something that you love to do. Because if you don't find anything you love to do, you're never going to be able to embody this mental universe and write your reality into existence. So find something, write a song, play a guitar, do a painting, go to a dance class, go to spin class, go to jujitsu, do something that you love to do, and you will start to be able to write this into existence. So now that I love playing my guitar, I've embodied that label. I've embodied it because I love it, and I've broken out of this box, out of this three-dimensional box. That's the box right there. The three-dimensional emotion, the three-dimensional I am this, I feel, and I do. Now when I love it, I can speak it, and I can tell other people. I say, wow, yeah, I really love playing guitar. I can say, wow, I wrote this song. Do you want to hear it? Right? And now my love for what I am doing, I'm able to speak and create into existence. I'm birthing my own creations by speaking them. Boom. I went from loving to speaking, right? That's from the point of saying, wow, I really appreciate music, to I create music and I embody music. And you start to see yourself as a musician. You start to see yourself as a creator, and that's where it shifted for me. I said, I was having a conversation with my friends in Mexico just last week, and I said, it all shifts when you embody yourself as a creator. If I say, oh, I just post, I happen to post on YouTube, or I post on Instagram, it's no big deal. Rather, the energy of that, rather than saying, no, I am a creator. I am a creator. Of course I make videos. I share them all the time. I am a musician. I share my music everywhere. I am a creator. Not only am I just creative, I am a creator. I speak it out loud. I write my songs. I write these things, and I begin to see myself as it. And I start to see other people doing the same things that I'm doing, because we see the universe as we are. We see the world as we are. So as I begin to play music all the time, as I begin to create, I start to meet other creators. Now last week I'm in Mexico hanging out with a bunch of content creators because I embodied the fact that I am a creator. So I manifested other manifestations of myself, other versions of me for me to interact with, to create with. So now I know a bunch of musicians, and I know a bunch of video creators, and I know a bunch of business owners because I embodied these labels about myself, and I began to see those in the world. And as I saw those in the world, they found me as well because they held those attachments and those labels for themselves. Now, as I speak this into existence, as I see other people, I begin to know myself to be worthy of these things. And this is where it all shifts. This is where we take the physical world into our reality. This is when we take, not the physical world. This is when we take these ideas, the idea and our desire, because for us to rewrite the script and reframe our personality, we have to start with a desire. We have to say, I want to change. My desire is to change. And that desire turns into a knowing, because the desire implies lack, saying, I want this. I want to be creative. I want a loving relationship. When you say, I want, you are lacking that thing. So when you begin to embody it and utilize I am, I feel, I do, I love, I speak, I see, I know, you create it. And now you know yourself to be worthy of that thing. You know yourself to have that thing. It is not outside of you. You have broken free from the shackles of the three-dimensional world of labels, judgments, and attachments, and quite literally created your own reality. Outside of all of these things that you've been told that you are for your whole life. All of the people that told you, oh, you shouldn't create because of that's gay. Or, oh, look at you. People used to call me Chungus. They used to say I was fat. And I was overweight. I was like 250 pounds in 2020. And almost 260 pounds. And they would call me Chungus and say I was fat and reaffirm that label for myself. So I had to flip it. So I had to flip and say, I'm not fat. I am healthy, and I went this scale up, and now I eat whole organic foods all the time because that is my nature. That is how I interact with the world. I read philosophical books, and it wasn't always like that. I used to watch South Park before I went to bed. Now I write in my journal and I read philosophical books. So it's about taking these things that we already do and reframing how we interact with the world, right? And it's subtle changes. It doesn't happen overnight, because if you try and change overnight, it's not going to work. Think about it. If you're going 80 on the parkway and you slam on the brakes, boom, you're going to bang your head off of the steering wheel. So you got to slow, you got to cruise, you got to pull off to the side, you got to take your time, because change is gradual. Change can be super instant, it can be spontaneous, but be careful with it. So in this video, we're talking all about how we changed our personality, changing these labels, these judgments, and these attachments that we have to the world to reframe our personal reality and speak what we want into existence. We saw how our youth, our childhood, and our unconsciousness shapes who we are. These different aspects of the world become embodied within our mind. And other people have told us how to see the world. Our teachers, our parents, our friends, they've told us that, oh, you're fat. They've told us that, oh, you don't eat healthy food, or you're addicted to alcohol, or they've said, oh, you're not creative, or they say you're gay. And these labels that the world has, and all of in the way that we grew up, we end up embodying that unconsciously. So now, since this universe is mental and we understand that we are the masters of our destiny, the masters of our reality, piloting this ship towards wherever we see ourselves worthy, because reality is, you can create as much as you want or as little as you want. Nobody says you have to embody this. Nobody's telling you that you have to understand the law of mentalism, but it will allow you to rewrite the script, to rewrite your reality so much easier when you understand the world to be a manifestation of your mind. There's tons of other videos that I have talking about how our mind is simply just perceiving energy, frequency, and vibration within our universe, piecing together the world very poorly based on our five senses. And we've been able to only see 5% of the visible light in the electromagnetic spectrum. 99.999% of our universe is dark matter that we can't see, perceive, or even measure. So how the hell could we think that we have even a baseline understanding of what's going on in this universe? All we have is this mind, and most of us have no ability and have been unable to master what we've got right here. So let's start with our own mind before we start branching out and thinking we know anything about the universe. So here we go. This was the law of mentalism and how to alchemize the words that you speak and your personality to create the life that you want to be living and embody the self that you see yourself as and know yourself to be worthy of. Thank you so much for being here with me. I have tons more videos on this. They'll be somewhere down on the bottom of this screen. And thank you so much. Much love, much peace. I create all sorts of videos on spirituality, consciousness, and self-realization. So if that's something you're into, click below. Let's chat. And let's hang out. I love you. I want to hear your feedback. So peace.